Hello! So I wanted to make a quick video today about the 7 dimensions of creation and kind of what that means, and break into really just essentially how energy moves through space. And that's why it's important, because when we look at space, that's all we're looking at is circulating energy. So on the atomic level, when you look at the circulation of energy, it adheres to a toroidal field, which we call an atom. Now, when you start multiplying these atoms, you start getting geometries of relating and intersecting energies. And when we look at that, we call that chemistry. And to really ultimately understand the atomic level, you have to understand sacred geometry, because that's all about how intersecting spheres arrange in particular patterns. Now, as soon as you understand and you can see some of the patterns that arise on the atomic level that form small molecular chains, you step onto the next dimension, which would be the genetic, which is long chains of molecules, perhaps billions of molecules all wrapped around together. And when they get to a certain size and dimension, they of course fold back onto themselves like all toroids do, and you get a nucleus at the center of a cell, which brings you to the 3rd dimension. So you have a cellular dimension, you have a genetic dimension, you have an atomic dimension, and of course cells are multicellular organisms like ourselves, are that dimension above that, because you have a circulating field of energy, which you call blood, which circulates throughout all of the cells and oxygenates and delivers nutrients as well. And of course you zoom out from there and you're on a planetary scale. Now, between the planet and the human body, there's a connection known as the Schumann Resonance. So those 2 fields, circulating fields, are connected, and you can zoom out again and see that throughout the seasons you have a connection between the sun and the earth. So the sun is creating a heliosphere, another shell, which is of course where our solar system is circulating. And you move outside of that into our galaxy and you get another field. Basically you see the flat disk portion of a magnetic bowl arrangement. So our galaxy is another giant field of circulating energy. So when you look at these fields of circulating energy, you might say, well, why is that important? Well, when we understand circulating energy on an atomic level, that's when we as human beings will be able to do things like fusion, warping space, unlimited clean energy. When it's just understanding how energy and geometry are so closely related, so that when we build things adherent to perfect geometry according to how energy moves, that's when we are able to get the highest efficiencies possible. When we look at the genetic level, those waves that create the DNA strands can be harmonized to maximize genetic coherence, meaning that the ability of a cell to maintain health as well as respond to its environment is enhanced. That's a science that has not even been tapped into. When we understand on a planetary level and on a bodily level, when we understand how these things are connected, that's when we can tap into planetary energy supplies like the Schumann Resonance. That's when we can fully integrate the knowledge of spirituality, which is energy, waves, and the physical reality that we live in, into a single cohesive thought, a singular existence. So the point of this knowledge is not just to plant the seeds of advanced space travel or unlimited free energy, but to understand how we as human beings, as circulating energy, fit in to this giant mandala of circulating energy and how all these energies are codependent. So when you go from the atomic to the genetic to the cellular to the bodily to the planetary to the solar system to the galaxy, then you're in this whole universe, which is like a single atom. And when you zoom out from that, you're in what we would consider now the multiverse. just as one single atom is connected to all the other atoms and particles that are in its field, which is all of existence, the universe itself is connected to other universes, just as a particle would be. But you go from a microscopic perspective to a macroscopic perspective that allows you to see a fractal existence of circulating energy. So the whole point for us to understand these patterns, to understand circulating energy, to understand fractal thinking, is for us to fully integrate with the universe itself so we can create on every single dimension what it is that we desire. I wanted to make a quick video about something that I think is actually really exciting. One of the things that I've pointed out in some of the other videos that I've made is that there is a connection, a sympathetic resonance between the pineal gland in the human brain and the planet itself. It was noted that the Schumann Resonance was integral for higher cognitive functioning. Imagination and creative capacities were directly related to this wavelength frequency. Now, what's been happening lately is that frequency, which is normally at a very stable 7.83 hertz with rising and falling every day, has actually been exceeding 50 hertz for periods of time, which basically, if you were to think of that, what does that mean in the brain? That's the difference between being asleep and being awake. And so that's what's happening right now, is this human connection between the planet and people is becoming stronger, it's accelerating, it's becoming more realized. Because as the planet wakes up, the body of cells that the planet is comprised of, you could call that, the body of light, whatever you wanted to call it. Basically, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to be acting on behalf of the planet as awakened cells of a body that's cohesively acting together. And so you can imagine, just like you're more alert, you're more capable when you're awake, that is going to be the shift. There's been a lot of people that wanted to do something, but now there's sort of a shift in the general thought process and the general feeling of what needs to happen. And that's all a part of the acceleration that occurs every time our planet is exiting the Kali Yuga state, which is those long cycles that our sun goes through as it goes through precessions within our galaxy. So as you can imagine, we're reaching these elevated states because we're coming into the energy age. So that's why all of these things are sort of happening, because just like a clock, everything's lining up. And as we get closer to that resonance, that intense resonance that's at the center of our galaxy, we get a more intense resonance on every single dimension. It accelerates the cohesiveness of your genetic structure because it's all based on the electromagnetic frequency. All of these frequencies are tied together. They're nested, like Russian nesting dolls. So when one accelerates, like the gear above us accelerates, we have no choice but to do so as well. So it's just a really exciting time that there's some people that are worried, but the reality is the human potential that has been dormant is actually waking up. And the people who choose to participate, that energy of heightened awareness, heightened consciousness is going to be flowing through those people, like transceivers. And that's the really exciting part, is it is voluntary. You are going to be enabled and empowered to the degree that you allow yourself to be, and to the degree that you allow that empowerment and energy to flow through you. So it's all by choice, and that's really what the exciting thing is. That means that there's nobody that can tell you, no, there's nobody that can hold you back, because this energy is literally radiating out of the planet as a relationship between the sun and the planet Earth itself. So that life force, that consciousness, that imagination, that creative vitality that exists throughout all of nature is enhancing and intensifying in the hearts and minds of people all over the world right now. And that's exciting stuff. So I just wanted to talk about it a little bit. And I hope you can feel the difference and feel the change in the way that people are thinking and feeling, and start kind of drinking in that energy yourself.